We are live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition, a long-awaited edition, and the first one of the 2024 of the Three Amigos. We definitely need a better name, guys. We definitely need a better name.
Competition there.
Yeah, competition. But today we are talking about all things AI. Now, you'd probably think that we planned this, but we didn't, because if you've known us quite well, Jerry and I especially shoot from the hip a lot. So when we talk, when we get together and say what we're going to talk about, it's normally, we'll wing it, we'll see what happens. But on this occasion, all three of us came up and said, listen, artificial intelligence, AI, is super present at the minute. It's so topical. We've all got different opinions. And what's really cool about it is I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Jerry's looking at it from a different perspective. And so is Paul, from marketing and content and obviously tech. So, I think we're going to have a really good discussion. But listen, if anybody is listening in or you're watching us on replay, please put your name in the comments, or if you've got any questions, add in there, because it's always really nice to see if this gets through to anybody. And nice to help people and answer their questions. So, chaps, how are we? How are you, Jerry? Everything all good? The hair's looking marvelous, magnificent.
Very good. I survived storm. What was the latest storm at the weekend? It was windy down here. Woo!
Storm knobhead. That's what we call
it. We survived the storm. This is the first time we've spoken since our event in November. I just want to say, on behalf of all of us, I know that we were all going to say this. Thank you to everyone that came. I thought it was a good crack.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant.
That's some really good feedback as well, haven't we? There's a lot of people.
The best event ever is what somebody said.
Amen.
I did, but yeah.
That's
good.
What about you, Paul? What have you been up to?
Really busy start, which is really good. I don't know if you feel the same. Is that at the moment there seems to be a real buzz about how the year's starting with agents, which is good. I hope that's the same for everyone, but a lot of busy agents who are obviously getting in touch to do various things with marketing as well. So helping lots of agents, and we're obviously getting ready for our workshop. So workshop on the 29th, which is coming around fast, which is going to be all about the perfect funnel. Little plug there, but that's kept me very busy, as you know, getting that ready.
Good. So what am I going to be talking about? Obviously, I'm talking about the big launch on next week on Monday. So that's for Prospector Pro, but I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Jerry, I know you've got some really good talks on AI and over reliance on it from a content perspective. Do you want to enlighten us?
Yeah. Now, obviously, some people think, well, he's biased because he's in the content game. But what I'm seeing is so much content that's generated by AI, ChatGPT being the 99% one, but agents just aren't checking it. They're not even giving it a cursory look. They'll go, write me a blog about selling a house in January. They'll copy and paste it, and then they'll plonk it on their social media, on their website, blah, blah, blah. What we use AI with our content generation as well, but we have what we've sort of dubbed a human sandwich. So me or one of the team will come up with the ideas, and we won't just take ChatGPT's first idea. We'll quiz it and say, what do you need from me to write this article? And it comes back with questions for you. But while it's asking you the questions, it's doing the thinking, because it's a very clever version of Metal Mickey, in my opinion. So the sandwich part of it is human, then use the AI. But for God's sake, this is the most important layer of the sandwich. Check it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't let it go out with Americanisms. And it does spell words wrong. I've seen a few words spelled wrong, and it's got this weird fetish for the word embrace. It's weird. It's really like robots like embracing. Another word is, what's the other word? Embrace, enhance, foster is another one that we don't really use, that word foster, but you'll see a lot of it in AI. So my point is, I think from a content perspective, people are starting to get a little bit, you can spot it now. It's been around a year, so you can go, right, that was written solely by AI. Do you know what I mean, Paul?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Even when I see articles or emails now, especially emails, that's the the biggest one, straight away you just feel that's AI, you know. And I think it's just humans become very good at spotting things quite quickly. I think we're already sort of seeing it. We were talking about it, weren't we? It's not just content, it's images, content, and the words are often words which someone probably just wouldn't reply with as well. I think
here's why I think the checks are important, because don't get me wrong, it can create some really good stuff, but go through it, take out the bits that don't sound like you. If you are going to use an email that's 90% AI generated, I'd actually have at the top, most of this email was generated by AI, just so people know. It's almost like a disclaimer, and then people are not feeling, you're being honest straight away, so you're being authentic straight away. Do you know what I mean? You're getting it out there.
The other thing is, and I think this is the biggest tip, if people are using AI, is you've got to give context, you've got to give examples, you've got to give style and tone. Otherwise, it's just going to go out there and build something quite random that's nothing like you. So we've seen some really good results by actually giving lots of examples. So of content or emails that we personally have written. Not just grab someone else's, actually stuff we've written, because it's going to feel very strange if all of a sudden you start receiving emails from Paul Long, personal emails, they don't sound anything like him. So I think, you know, by giving those examples really does make a difference, and it does do it well, and the tones as well. You can dial right down to saying, you know, write this that 15-year-old would understand. You know, it can go that far. And I think a lot of the time actually writing in that way is better than asking for something which is more advanced, because I think most people want something easy to read.
Whose dog's barking?
It's probably mine. Normally at this point I'll tell it to shut up, but I might get told off.
No, I agree with that. I mean, we've been doing a lot of stuff for the new project Prospector Pro, and you know, we've got Jerry did all the tone of voice and did all the writing and stuff like that. But if you put all that in, and if you don't give it enough sort of prompts, it'll come back. The amount of times summarization is spelt with a Z.
Yeah.
Or
there's an easy way around that though. Always 99% of the time it works. Just put in British English.
Yeah.
British English. Yeah. Just put in that, and that'll read it at that. Give it a word count.
Yes.
I was working on something. I got into an argument with ChatGPT. What was all that about? Because it kept getting the word count wrong. I wanted something for 200 words, but Paul, it was coming back, and I was saying, make sure you understand this and it's accurate. Please confirm. It would come back and say, this is exactly 240 words. It weren't. It was 200, or it was 280. And in the end, I just sort of said, I'm not speaking to you, and I switched off the computer.
It does not. And you've got the, we were talking about the other day, weren't we, Jerry, the GPTs. That's going to be interesting as well.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
I think we might start seeing better results with the GPT. So essentially building mini chat GPTs within chat GPT itself. With, I suppose it's probably more controlled with the results and more suited towards what you're trying to achieve. But that'd be really interesting to see what comes from that.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not anti AI. I'm actually pro it, because I can see like the likes of what John's got coming out, that sort of thing. It's just gonna, whatever AI enhances the human, so it allows you to go, right, that can be done by something else, i.e. AI, and the human goes off and does more of the human stuff, which will lead on to one of my points later on about the authentic, what I see as content making a comeback in a more authentic way this year.
Yeah. The other angles, you know, we're talking about content here, is obviously data, and as you said, the other task. And obviously, John, you know, you've got a fantastic product there that is an example. Do you think, John, the AI does a better job with data and what you've seen so far than perhaps the angle which we're all diving in on, which is content and ad copy and things like that?
Oh yeah, AI is literally, it can sort of scan, search, reorganize, report on, come up with insights analyze everything, like streams and streams of data in seconds, like literally milliseconds, and then you need the human on top of that to make the decisions thereafter. So, you know,
what are you most excited about Prospector Pro's AI?
For me, I'm quite excited about the call sentiment analysis. So that goes live this week, ready for launch.
You want to explain what that is to the layperson?
So when you make a call, there's two things. You've got the words, and you've got the written word, if you like, and you've got the voice. What AI can do now is there are certain large language models, or LLMs, that you'll have heard of, that they can listen to the cadence, the tonality, read the words, mish it all together, and they will come up with their interpretation of how that conversation went with remarkable accuracy. So it's a little bit like, you know, negotiation techniques. I'm talking like FBI negotiation techniques, not like, you know, you work for a corporate and you want to sell them a 2-bedroom bungalow. It's not that negotiation. So it looks at, and this is science, this is based on, you know, a lot of data analysis and research. So when you have a conversation, the AI will scan it and it will look for various things. So the amount of questions that the client asked, right? If you, Jerry, are my client and you ask loads of questions, it indicates engagement. If you're not bothered, or you're clearly on something else, like, you know, concentrate on something else, you won't ask any questions. Filler words, excuse me, Now, a lot of research again out there suggests that 1 filler word per 12 seconds or 1 filler word per 45 words is the average. If I'm speaking one every couple of seconds, or 5 or 6 every 45, it indicates I'm not confident, and that's either in the product or the service. So that will also highlight that maybe additional training is needed. You've got overall tone, and we integrate with a piece of kit over in American Silicon Valley that's got 45 different tones. Wow. So it can listen to your voice and work out 45, and we're just trying to get that hooked up at the minute. Buying signals as well. So buying signals, it might not sound very clear, but when we have a question, we might go up at the end a little bit. You might, even if you don't think you're going up at the end, it either tails off or it goes up. It very rarely do you talk like this and you ask a question. It doesn't, you know, unless you are Metal Mickey. So it takes into account, and that's just one of like millions of things that it does. So it will highlight any buying signals for you as that came from the client that you missed. So our system will say, it'll have a question, what are the next steps, which is asked by the client, and it will have our response, and it will highlight, well, I missed that, or I just quickly rolled into the next question, or I got it. And that's just on our stuff, what we do. I'm excited. So that comes out on Monday, so I'm really excited about that. But the other thing what I'm really super excited about is just the analyzing stuff. So because we record all the calls and we've got this huge database of calls, every call your team made, you know, for example, something that's coming in pretty soon is you might think, right, your team's making thousands of calls a month, thousands, and it's 5-6 months at using Prospector Pro. We can put in the names of your competitors into a search bar, and it will bring up every single conversation that Leaders Romans or Countrywide or whoever was mentioned. You could put in a personal mobile of a staff member who you think might be doing something dodgy, and it'll bring up every conversation where he said, listen, I'm going to give him a personal mobile. Give me a ring after hours. So you can put phrases in, you know, swear words, colloquialisms, and it will just bring up within seconds, because not only have we got the call, we've got the call commentary, like the literally the conversation, and it just scans it and it highlights. And believe it or not, that's not even clever AI. That's just generic search functions using AI to speed up the process.
Craziness. Should be good. I've seen it. I think it's a very good bit of kit.
Yeah.
I think there's also, you know, with your piece of kit, I think one thing that we are going to see is that agents are going to have to raise their game with regards to how good they're with conversations, because the AI, which is moving so fast out there, is already, you know, making calls with actual voice calls, and is actually sending out automated chat messages to set appointments. So I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but it is working. So with data like your software will provide, that is an opportunity for agents to raise their game and obviously, you know, use that data and improve their phone calls further.
One thing that it can do, because of all those things, it can detect empathy, it can detect interrupting, it can detect all that, and you get a score out of 10 of the call. What you can do, and by the way, we're probably about 3 months away from this, just to set everyone's expectations. I would say 2, but my CTO would say 3. 2 months, that is. So you can say any score under 5, I want to be made aware of. So you can then listen into the call, and there'll be a reason it'll say, right, it scored 5 out of 10 because of X, Y, Z reasons. And you can then go in and you can actually give them the training. So it's like being on your best behavior. It's like, you know, if you're playing football, like Charlotte plays football, Jerry, the chances of having a bit of a laugh with the mates and mucking around in training is quite high. But in a match, she's dead serious. Basically, every phone call is match day. So you don't mess about. You don't not give your best. You're attentive. I'm not like, you know, doing a call and messing on playing bloody chess on my phone. Just every call, you're on your best behavior and you're giving your very level best. And if you don't have to worry about recording the call or making notes or doing the follow-ups because the system does it for you, you can be literally dialed in. You can be zoned into giving your best to the client.
You know, this as well, this will be really interesting because I think that people that are really looking to improve in their role will love this.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what people that want to have a DOS and just want to do the bare minimum, and there's lots of people out there who blame everyone for everything apart from themselves, will see this as a bit of a threat. So I can see this in a state agency or a business environment. I think you're going to see people that go, oh, right, Jane and John they're really our best performers. We need to be looking after them. Billy and Sue, no offense, Billy and Sue, they're DOSers. Let's get down the road. You know what I mean? So I think it's fascinating from a human nature point of view.
We've seen it already. Like, it's only been a couple of months on beta tests, and we've only had 1 or 2 incidents where people who are doing the prospecting who aren't very good are like, I'm not keen on this. Only 1 or 2. Yeah. The more important thing I've seen is where you would think that some of your team are like, oh, I don't like this. As Big Brother's watching you. If they're half decent, not a single person has kicked back. Not a single person. In fact, people who are using it is going, this is great. How do I listen to my call so I can hear how I did?
Yeah.
It happened actually a little bit quicker than what we thought it would happen.
That's a real indicator of a good attitude, isn't it? That's the sort of people you want in your team, that they're looking to grow and develop. Yeah.
And you wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to say the names, but we work. I mean, you know quite a few of them, Jerry. We're working with some big names, and you can tell why they're big names now. Yeah. You can tell why they're very well put together because their attitude to prospecting is not a single one of the ones that you would like. A single one of the big names who we've got. I don't mind, you know, Paramount, Location, Balgores, Martin Gerard, Rex Gooding. We've got all these people on. There's not a single one whose team member have gone, oh, I don't like this. They've gone, great. How do I get my hands on it? Let's test it. Let's try and break it. And to be fair, Martin Gerard, 12 Brancher, they did break it for a couple of days, as in like they overloaded the system. We didn't have enough lines, and then we just pushed a couple of buttons, and we go. But it was great because we need to test it.
Yeah, tested.
But you can see now why they are and have got the reputations that they've got, because all things prospecting and the managers support them, and so it's throughout some really good information.
Exciting times. Now, one of my points here, and I think me and you spoke about this in the past, John, is about taking responsibility, 100% responsibility for your business and for yourself.
Yeah. And
it's interesting because we had a recurring problem in the business for the past 3 or 4 months. And I'm going, oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, why can't we do this? Oh, yeah. And I was blaming everything. And then realized it was Wendy actually said to me, she said, it's you. So I think sometimes, and I put this comment in my WhatsApp group about, you know, if you've got a recurring problem in business, be it recruitment, procurement, I don't know, marketing, you can sometimes, more often than not, trace it back to the business owner or the business leader, I think. And I just thought it was really interesting because, like you say about those big name agencies you're working with, and you'll have the same thing, Paul, the best agencies, they always take responsibility. The leader will take responsibility for everything. Do you know what I mean? They never go, it's somebody else's fault because the buck stops here, sort of thing.
It's a big part of it, actually. And it's something I used to say, I might not be accountable for what happened, but I'll always be responsible for what happened. So if someone... You're sorry?
Said like a politician. That was.
Well, no, it's true though. So, say evaluate, a negotiator swore or did a terrible job. I'm not accountable for that. That's not I didn't do it, but I am responsible because it's my name above the door, and you've got to take responsibility for it. That person needs to be accountable.
In that instance, that's interesting. In that example, what do you think a leader should do? Let's just say that one of his members of staff swore a couple of times on evaluation or was a bit rude. What does the leader do when it gets fed back to them?
So a good leader will always gather all the information, listen to both sides, act incredibly swiftly, and then make a decision in the best interest of all parties. So things like a gut reaction that we always have as business leader, especially in this industry, is, oh, what's little Susie done, or what's little Johnny done? No, it could be that it wasn't actually a swear word, it was colloquialism, it was, something else. It's not always the case that it's a clear and cut, and you can't make a good decision with one side of the facts. You just can't do it. You need all facts to make a best decision. So gathering all the information and doing it quickly, and communication is really good leadership as well. Sort of saying, "Oh, look, Mr. Lyons, I'm really, really sorry that." I used to say, apologize for the situation, never apologize to them. As in, like, look, I'm sorry you felt you've had to come to us. I'm sorry this has happened. Not like I'm sorry for what Johnny's done. I would never say I'm sorry you feel that way. I would never do that now. I used to do that, but I saw something a couple of weeks ago where there's this chap in America, and he's a solicitor, and he's a professional arguer. And he's came around with something which was brilliant, and I would always use it. So if Jerry says, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way," I would say, "Whoa, don't apologize for my feelings. I know exactly how I feel. Apologize for what you did."
Wow.
So, and that's a real good. I've just had my ass handed to me on that. So that's why I wouldn't. I would say, "Look, I'm sorry this situation has happened. Yeah. Look, I'm sorry you've had to come to us. So I'm not apologizing if you're failing." So it's the same thing. And then just getting to the bottom of it and then acting swiftly. And, if you've got to reprimand that person, then definitely do that.
Interesting. Paolo, you got any more?
Yeah, obviously we've spoken about different things ChatGPT and AI is really good at, and I think it's a couple of good examples there. The other one, obviously, is saving time. And going back to data as well, what I do think is that there's going to be a lot more opportunities where agents are going to see software that will look for opportunities in the market. There's obviously John's given an example with opportunities to improve and maybe phone calls and what's going on with prospecting. But I think as a whole, looking at data is going to be a huge one for the industry. And I don't think many are sort of expanding on it, where they've actually got software that's looking for the opportunities using the data of sales and maybe your own data in the business. And I'm sure that'll be rolling out quite quickly. But one example that I've got to share with you is Michelle Gallagher with an AI service that we've been pushing out to agents. Is now saving about 8 hours a week with Facebook adverts. And this is a great example where it can really save some serious time, but also make better decisions to come up with some amazing results. So
do you cover this in your funnel course, by the way?
Yeah, we will be covering it. Yeah. So the workshop, we will be going over all the different sort of angles with AI and Facebook adverts. But essentially what she was doing, what we were setting up for her was automated adverts where Facebook will fill the advert with properties it feels those people are most likely to engage with. So rather than the agent having to update the advert each week, Facebook's doing that, which is saving time. But the other big thing is that it's looking at all the data points. It's something that we just can't do as users on Facebook ads. You can't look at data points that Facebook's got, but it's looking at millions of data points and it's making a decision of what properties to show. And that will probably be similar with other bits of software that comes out, maybe not with property in Facebook, but it will be making those decisions on mass amounts of data that we could never do. So I think there's some real opportunity. She benefited from, I think it was 18,000 visits to her website in 3 weeks.
Crazy response, she said. Yeah, absolutely mental.
300 quid spent, 18,000 local people to the site and following people around. But what that would never be achievable if AI wasn't involved, because it's obviously making much high level decisions than we could. So I think with data,
18,000 people, Paul, yeah, 300 quid. You would pay that. You'd pay 10 times that.
I know.
If you could get 18,000 people that had an interest in property to come visit your website,
yeah,
do you know what I mean? You'd pay $3,000.
Yeah, it's frightening when it gets it right how well it can do things. And
it's wrong. Have you sort of encountered that? You know, if it
not with the we've rolled that example, we've rolled out to probably about 40 agents now, and I'd say 98%, 99% have had amazing results. You know, and if they haven't, and probably John would probably see this, is that if you haven't got enough data, then AI doesn't really help. You know, there has to be enough data there for it to really work. So you need enough properties, you need enough data there of people engaging with those properties. And I imagine it's the same for any software with AI. It needs that data to really see the best results. But yeah, it'd be interesting where it goes. The one thing I was thinking the other day is, and I don't know if people agree with this, it'd be really good to hear what they think. Are the portals at the moment, showing any signs of really doing some good stuff with AI? Because I can't see much going on there. I don't know if it's me, but it just feels like we're stuck in a sort of a 90s website at the moment with most of the portals. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe people seeing stuff there, but that would be interesting to see if anyone jumps into the AI direction from the portals.
I'll tell you what I think with I mean, this is a pure speculation. I don't know, but I think they'll be looking at it already, all of them. I would say the most innovative is 100% Rightmove, in terms of the back end stuff and what they can offer. Like something as simple as call recording, I cannot believe that the others don't offer it. But I think with the backing of CoStar on the market, it's got to be a real threat. It can't be sniffed at. Yes, I agree. Adoption's been slow and all this sort of stuff, and there was a lot of people leaving. But you know, paying that much money, and it's a multi-billion-dollar company. I think it's even bigger than Rightmove. It just doesn't take a lot to put the money in, and all of a sudden it could really challenge Zoopla for sure.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how the technology changes on those platforms over the next 12 months.
Yeah. Indeed. Good. I'm just trying to think. Is anything else to do with it? I think we're going to talk about pictures and stuff. I mean, AI at the minute, especially ChatGPT, you're getting the same generic. I mean, I love Mr. Watkin, but I'm sick of these bloody pictures that he's putting up. Are these
the ones where he's looking sort of like superhero-ish?
There was one I saw, and I'd prefer to see what I want to know what prompt he put in. There was something about having your trousers pulled down. So there was a guy with his trousers pulled down, but he also had another pair that was pulled up as well.
It'd be interesting to see where it goes with the images, because you're quite right. I agree. When they first came out, they looked like very polished avatar type images. You know, they stood out, and they still stand out on certain platforms like social media. Everyone uses sort of the same normal images, real images, and then all of a sudden you see one that's really bright, shiny, and all over the place. But it'd be interesting to see where it goes next, because they need to sort of make them look more what's the word, more real. I think they're very polished at the.
You know what, as well, I think I was playing around with the picture part of it, and I put in what did I put in? Show me a picture of an unethical estate agent, and it came up with a picture that looked a bit like Tom McGee. He's seen it as well, and he took the joke before people go, I'm going to tell Tom. He knows. I'll let him know first. But it was like a cartoon version. And then I asked it again, and then it was like this supermodel wearing a suit. AI seems to think that estate agents are all got really those trendy beards, if it's men agents, trendy beards, watches, sharp suits. So it's almost like it's got its own little bias already. Do you know what I mean? And interestingly, I put in show me a selection of estate agents in an office setting, and it never had one person of colour, and it was only one woman.
Oh,
so AI, I don't know if it's got because of the data going into it, does that create the bias? Do you know what I mean? But then I had to go back and say, no, try again, give me a bit more diversity. And then it does. So I just think, it's fascinating, but I do think the point, and I hugely believe this is going to happen. The agents that are charging more fees or marketing better than their rivals will go back to just photos of themselves, local photos. They'll take the time to, you know what, you get a local photographer for a day, give him 300 quid, probably wouldn't even have to give him that at the moment because it's January, February, and it's not like wedding season. Get them to go around, take pictures of your office setting, you know, just get them to find, like we did with that fella at the event, you know, just basically go there and take photos. That gave us so much real, authentic content, all three of us. And estate agents can do the same thing rather than going, oh, I need to have a picture of somebody holding a phone or something like that, and it just comes. It just looks.
It's just topical. I think it'll go, and I think I think it'll go because they're not great. They don't get them right. I mean, some ones that people put on where it's like a group of people, they've got like 3 eyes, and their eyes are going bong. They could watch a tennis match without moving their head. Half of them, like literally pointing that way. So yeah, it's just topical. It's just like pretty new and stuff. 3 or 4 months, I think people start going back to like Canva design stuff or proper. Well, if they don't, they should, because it's shit. It looks absolutely terrible, to be fair.
Unless the AI really evolves again. So it learns and it goes, guess what? That was rubbish compared to this.
Yeah. But I think there's already the options where you can upload images and it will create other images similar. So that's where the technology's got to advance. It's got to be able to really sort of duplicate what it's done there. But I think listening to what you've said there, Jerry, I think what we're going to see is that human generated content is going to become more valuable. Is that what you think? You think on?
Well, a few of my mates are copywriters. A couple of them in particular, really, really good ones. Their rate has gone up. So they actually charge more because they said what's happening is if people want average, they can get that of ChatGPT and an average copywriter.
Yeah.
They're working together. But if you want the real bespoke stuff where somebody's on the phone to you for an hour and talking about your business and learning about it, and one of my mates spends days with businesses. He basically is like sitting there like a reporter. So he's soaking up all this information, and then their web copy is him having been there for a week, 3 days. He was at a business, not a estate agency business, but that sort of thing. That's next level. His rate's gone up. He's not worried about ChatGPT. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Go on, sorry, JP.
Just on that, you would class him as a luxury service, like a high-end service. And when I was doing some research for the webinar on Monday, I was looking at like what people are prepared to pay for stuff, and they reckon that people are prepared to pay up to a premium of 15% for a luxury item or service. Additional 15%. So you're right. So if he put his prices up 15-20%, it kind of just it's probably normal, really. He's that bloody good at it. And
I think there's an element in the market that doesn't mind paying a little bit extra, knowing if they're getting the best, or at least the higher end shit. They don't want to be dealing with headaches, and often with cheap stuff, headaches are bedfellows of it. Yeah,
I think it's human nature, isn't it? Like you say, human nature. Everyone's always looking for that service that's a little bit better.
Yeah,
there's always someone looking for that.
Yeah. Talking to services that are better. After this call, what time is it now? What time is it?
25 to 2.
After this call, I'm going to go and get a coffee and a cake from the best coffee shop in my town.
Shout out.
Nice.
Shout out to Namir. Shout out to Namir. I don't know why I said that. It's just because I'm thinking of it. All I can think of. I'm really hungry. It's lunchtime. I'm starving.
Can't concentrate. All right, guys. Well, look, I think we better go. But once again, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Can we just get a reminder, Paul? How can people find out about your event?
29th, Monday, the 29th of this month. I'll put a link in the groups. Otherwise, just get in touch with me and I'll send the link. But it's the perfect funnel masterclass.
And JP, your Prospector Pro launch?
Yeah, that's Monday, 12:30. There's links in all groups. You both kindly allow me to post in the groups and stuff. But yeah, that's 12:30. So there will be a replay, but you've got to register to get access to that replay, just to show you what.
Both things, folks, very well worth checking out. I'm not just saying it because I used to like these two. You get to know people when you spend sort of like a couple of days with them doing an event.
Yeah.
No, look, he's gone. Right. Paul, I'm off to get a coffee and a cake. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.